Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Next Door Netadmin. I have told a few stories on this channel. A few. Most of them are about successes or about things that have not quite gone according to plan, and there's been a lot of, technical information as well. Today I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I'm going to tell you about some of my failures and my personal screw-ups in the world of IT. Just to, make a couple of points. Number one, we're all human. That includes me. We all make mistakes. Number two, mistakes can be fixed. Even if they are so bad you think you'll never recover from it. So here's a couple of illustrations of just how bad things can go. One of the first really big ones that I did was with a company. It was a customer of ours at work. They had a server. It wasn't working correctly for some reason, and it wouldn't restart. It wouldn't shut down. It wouldn't restart. So I went, okay, well, if it won't shut down and it won't restart, then I guess we're just going to have to do this the old-fashioned way and pull the plug on the server to cut power physically, and then we'll plug it back in again and let it all go. I had noticed something odd about the server in the past, but I didn't think much of it because I was told this is the only server they have, there's nothing else that we need to worry about, yada, yada, yada. So I had not clocked the significance that I had seen VMware tools installed on this server. Well, it turns out this was not a physical server, this was a virtual server. And cutting power to the hypervisor, the physical server, was all well and good, but when we turned it back on and the virtual machine came back up again, nothing was the way that it should be. And it turned out what had happened is at some point 9 months previously, somebody had made a snapshot on the physical server. They had taken a point in time, this is the state of the server at this point in time, and it had continued from there. I did not know at the time, but I definitely know now, you shouldn't keep snapshots for that long. Maybe 72 hours, maybe a week at most, because you don't want to keep them around for a long time because this is something that can happen. The portion of the server's hard disk that was current became corrupted because of the way that I had told people to cut power to the server by pulling the plug out, which meant that the entire server had essentially rolled back 9 months in time. Everything that had been done in that last 9 months was gone. We had a backup. We had a backup from the night before. But I messed up on restoring it. This was back in quite some time ago. This was a Server 2003 box, and it was using NT backup. At the time when you were doing a restore, there was a box that said overwrite files, and I'm like, well, I don't want to overwrite any files if I just want to bring everything up to current. I don't want to overwrite things. Big mistake, because that meant that it was a partial restore. Anything that had been created in the last 9 months was restored correctly. Anything that had existed previously wasn't brought up to date. So now you had some files that were 9 months old and didn't have any, current history restored. And then you had stuff that had been restored back to the night previously. And by the time I figured it out, the correct thing to do to resolve this would have been do another restore and overwrite everything to bring everything up to date to what it had been the night previously. But by the time I figured that out, I was told, no, don't do that. We've already started updating things again, so we're just going to have to go through with it and figure out everything that's broken and try and fix it as we go. At the time, I was too junior to insist on, no, really, we need to go back because it's going to save you more work in the long run. But we did end up fixing everything. It took a month. It took a solid month of work. It took something like 60 hours of work on this server over a month in order to actually bring it back into the correct state, how it should have been all along. And the customer said, okay, we recognize that mistakes happen, and we also acknowledge the fact that you have fixed everything and brought it back to the way it should be, but you still made a mistake, and our owner's philosophy is if you make a mistake, then you're fired. So we're parting ways with you. That was not good. My boss was pretty choked. He called me into his office and told me exactly how much of a loss that was to the company. And he wasn't happy. Clearly, I didn't lose my job for it, but that was not a good thing. And I was the one responsible because I'm the one who gave the instructions. I was also the person most involved in trying to fix it, and I broke that too. So yeah, that one was all over me. Even though it was fixed in the end, it didn't end well. It didn't end happily, I'll put it that way. Another time, I was helping a customer that had an on-prem mail server, an on-prem exchange server. And we had migrated them to Office 365. Cool. Now we need to remove Exchange. We need to remove the on-prem mail server. How do you do this? Well, you need to uninstall Exchange in order to get it to remove itself from the domain cleanly. You can't uninstall Exchange if you still have mailbox databases with mail in them. And you cannot remove the mailbox databases unless you remove the mailboxes first. So I went and I did that. Anybody who's listening and is hearing me use that particular word already knows exactly what I did. I used a command that pulled all mailboxes in the domain and removed them. That was a big mistake. Fun fact, to remove just the mailbox, you need to use a command called disable mailbox. If you use remove mailbox, it removes the mailbox and the user account associated to it, which means I ran a command that quite happily removed all mailboxes from Exchange and removed all user accounts in the entire domain. At like 9:30 in the morning on a Tuesday, when everybody's in the office, everybody's working, and suddenly all the accounts go away. I didn't even realize it at first. I had like 3 mailboxes that I couldn't delete, one of which was the administrator account because that's what I was using. I'm like, well, I'm just trying to get rid of the mailbox. How come I can't get rid of this mailbox? It keeps telling me it can't remove it. And then I went, oh, wait a minute. I checked everything. All the users were gone. I was like, this is not good. This was also in a domain that did not have Active Directory Recycle Bin enabled. That which is a feature that was introduced to Microsoft domains some time ago, precisely for this reason. If you delete a user account, it's nice to have a way that you can pull it back. However, you can still do restores on user accounts if you've deleted it out of a domain, even without the Active Directory recycle bin, but it's much harder. And it has one other little side effect. The Active Directory recycle bin can bring things back exactly as they were at the time of deletion. Restoring it the other way, well, it brings most of it back. It doesn't bring back the password. Which meant that, yes, I was like, okay, yes, it's Tuesday morning. I'm very sorry. I'm going to spend a couple hours now restoring all of your user accounts. But nobody's going to have the same password anymore. I also have to reset everybody's password in the entire company because that's the only way I can finish bringing your accounts back because I deleted it the wrong way. I'm so sorry. I have yet to live either of these mistakes down in my office. Every Christmas party, every staff get together or team building or team bonding exercise, everybody likes pointing at the netadmin and going, hey, do you remember when? Yeah, I remember when. I can't really forget it, can I? The moral of the story that I say to other people is it's good to have a lot of knowledge, and it's good to be, generally speaking, really good at what you do. I'm generally a very good and very accurate IT professional. It's what I do. The corollary to that is when you make a mistake, it's more likely that you are deep in a section of the customer's network where the consequences of your mistake are much, much worse and spread quickly. Other examples of this that you could point to are the regular screw-ups that happen in internet routing. When an engineer has a really bad day and they push an update that doesn't quite do what they thought it did, and all of Facebook goes away for 4 hours. Or all of Amazon suffers a massive speed penalty for 2-3 hours. Or somebody, and this happens on a much more frequent basis than you would suspect, somebody does something incorrect, and like all of the internet traffic for the US West Coast, Seattle, Oregon, everything like that, takes a detour through China or Eastern Russia and back again. Malicious? Hard to say. It's usually actually a mistake that somebody made. Somebody typed in .17 instead of .117, announced the wrong network, and now everything's routing across the Pacific Ocean and back again. People make mistakes. Network admins, the higher up and more skilled a network admin you are, the more your mistakes are likely to make a really bad day happen. A really bad day for yourself and for a lot of other people. But they can be recovered from. The second customer that I talked about, where I removed all the user accounts, they're still our customer today. I was able to fix it in substantially less than a month. And they had the philosophy opposite from the first customer, where the first customer was, you made a mistake once, therefore goodbye, even though we recognize you fixed it all. The second customer had the philosophy of, mistakes happen, you fixed it quickly, let's not have this happen again, huh? We went, yeah, we're gonna make sure that doesn't happen again. Sorry. And of course, I'm not on the billing side. I don't know if there were other incentives that had to be offered. I don't know if we went, you know what, here, take a 10% discount for the month, not as bribery to try and make you happy with us, but because this was an inconvenience. We recognize it was an inconvenience, and it's only right that we, recompense you for it. Compensate you at some level for it. That's only reasonable. I don't know what happened. I have no idea. But yeah, mistakes do happen. You can get through it. If you have a really decent employer, they'll look at this and go, this is a learning experience. This is a learning experience for you, the person who made the mistake. This is a learning experience for us, the company that suffered the mistake, because it's an opportunity for us to document things. It's an opportunity for us to have a warning. It's an opportunity to have a case example of this is what happens when things go wrong. And this is how we should respond to things when things go wrong. Who do you need to, notify? In my case, notify the head of help desk. Hey, I realize I've just done something wrong, and we're likely to get calls about it. We're already taking corrective action. Please ask them to be patient. We are aware of it. And, that way, when the calls do come in, help desk isn't completely blindsided by this and then jump in and try to start troubleshooting on top of what's already being fixed. That's an example. This last week, I had a few instances of things that did not work correctly. In my case, I was trying to do some server level updates that included a network driver refresh. Turned out a particular driver in Windows, in this case the Microsoft multiplexing driver, which I'm going to spit alphabet soup here for a moment here, is part of the LBFO feature that was introduced in Server 2012 and deprecated as of Server 2016. Definitely deprecated as of 2019, if not in 2016. The multiplexer driver takes multiple network interfaces and binds them together into one single interface. Okay, cool. Well, I was updating the driver for the actual physical network cards. Turns out when I did that, the multiplexer driver went poof, everything's gone. And suddenly I have a server that has no networking, and that's a problem. So it was, okay, I have a server. I can't do any networking on it anymore. All right, how do I respond to this? First off, connect to the management card, and I know how to fix it. I know exactly how to fix it. But it's complicated by the fact that, it's during the day, people are trying to use this, and I just knocked it offline. Updating the network driver will knock a server offline, but it's only supposed to be for a couple seconds. Short enough that nobody notices it. If it's going to be 5 minutes or 10 minutes, people are going to notice. So again, what do? You tell the help desk, "Hi, help desk, I've caused a problem." Or in my case, I think my literal wording on one of these was, "Hi, help desk, I've done a dumb." And help desk goes, oh, really? Say more. I want to know how badly this is going to screw up my day. Okay. Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm already fixing it. I've caused an outage. It'll be like 5-10 minutes. If people call in the meantime, tell them we're aware of it. We're already working on it, and it'll be resolved shortly. Which it was. Cool. People don't mind if something has broken so long as you fix it quickly. And here's another tip. It looks really impressive if people go, "Hi, there's a problem. I can't do this." And what you say is, yes, we're already aware of that and we're already working to fix it. Oh, okay, cool, great. That's like saying the power's gone out. You call the hydro company, your electric company, and you go, hi, I'd like to report a power outage. And they're like, we already know, crews are already on the way. That makes you feel good. Okay, good. Somebody's already responding to this. That is the most important part. You don't need the part about, oh yeah, that's because one of our guys forgot what he was doing and, let a wire fall into a transformer and blew the thing up. Yeah, that might be the reason or the equivalent on the network side, but you don't always have to tell them that. Not that we lie to our customers. We're very upfront with our customers. If we messed up, we're going to own it. But you don't necessarily need to tell them that when they're calling, and what they want to know directly is, hey, there's a problem. And you can tell them, we're already fixing it. Cool. The owning it comes later when, management is in a meeting with other management and they're going, okay, so we had this outage. What's the story on that? Why did that happen? Then you go, well, the reason that happened is because of us. We're very sorry. We've fixed it. Okay, cool. Then moving on, because mistakes happen. But that's kind of the important part, is mistakes happen. Even to seasoned network admins, it's going to happen. Make your peace with it, essentially, from the very beginning. But try to limit it, try to fix it quickly, and then learn from it. That's the most important part, is learning from it. Because if you can learn from it, then you improve. I guarantee you, I'm never going to confuse disable mailbox with remove mailbox ever again. Ever in my life. I will go to my grave still remembering the difference between those two commands, because I can't forget it now. So as long as you learn from it, that's the most important part. And it is survivable. You can make epic failures and you can still keep going. So hang on to that too. Maybe it'll be comforting when it happens to you. No, it really won't be comforting, but it'll still be true. You will get through it. That's probably enough storytelling out of me for now. So, as usual, if there's something that you would like to hear me talk about, if there's questions that you have, if you have thoughts about things you'd like me to, show on the channel or discuss at length, feel free to let me know right down in the comments section. Until then, hopefully this has been very, very useful for you, or at least somewhat useful and encouraging for the future. Until next week, then, thank you very much for watching. I am your next door net admin, and we'll see you next time.